Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is your favorite all-men's show. This is the Den by the Jared podcast, and I'm super excited about this episode. Now, on this one, I have a different scope of guest, and the conversation today is something that's has been, I'd say this is the new thing with the world right now, and I'm happy that we're having this conversation. But first of all, I need to remind you guys, you need to subscribe. Remember, we are on a road to 100,000 subscribers this year. Tafadhali. We are at 61,000, and we're trying to give you a lot of content. So you will be having content from The Den, which is by Ben Psycho. You'll be having content from The Nook by 100. You'll also be having content by The Jared Podcast, which is 10 and Ben. And remember, we're still doing the campus tours. So this time round, we might be focusing outside Nairobi. So make sure you follow our page, Ben Psycho, 100, and The Jared Podcast, so that you can know the dates and when we'll be at your campus. Now, today, I have two amazing gentlemen. These guys are cool people. Learning to meongea before even this show started. And I feel we're having very nice conversations. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, help me invite Manasseh himself.
VP, man.
Top content creator, top actor, what superstar, and he just superstar. You know when you're a superstar for a living, you know, that's Manasseh. And then to the farthest left, we have the one and only Charisma. I call him Fidel sometimes. Some of you can remember him from the group Le Band. These guys gave us hits. Mkwaje maji?
Tuko fresh, man.
Karibuni sana bana.
Asante.
Msikuwe serious hapa.
Hatuko serious.
Sasa tunangoja uanze.
Lakini Kenya umesema, ni mko busy. Mko busy.
Job in Nairobi, man.
Well done.
Man, you guys are doing such an amazing
in Nairobi,
job.
you need a minimum of 4 jobs.
Yeah.
It's true. What are some of the things you do yourself?
Things that I do, I act. I host, but I'm currently not on air, but I host. And then I create content for brands. And I also develop concepts for ads.
So you develop concepts for ads? Yeah. That's like script writing?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Jack of all trades, eh?
Oh, yeah. No. I feel like not a jack of all trades.
Jack of 4 trades.
All these things are very related.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like quote unquote just, performing ads or creative.
Creative, yeah?
Yeah.
My G.
Nasemaje, man?
How you doing, man?
I'm great, and you?
Salimia watu, man.
Mimi niko poa. Nimesikia ma jobs za watu hata ninashindwa sasa mimi ndasema nini. Mimi huimba tu.
Siga sana.
No.
Uimba poa sana.
Thanks.
Yeah, we say imba poa sana.
Yeah, but I'm a singer, songwriter, an entertainer, performer. I create content. Siko sijafika kwa Manasseh bado najaribu. Yeah, but I think that's the one thing I've gotten into of late that's really interesting for me, because it's not something I ever saw myself doing, like content creating and partnerships like those. But yeah, it's interesting. I think ni space fun, ni space different.
Karibu, but uko na personality fiti, Charisma. So it's very easy to sell you.
Nashukuru.
Very easy. In fact, I don't know if guys know the first time, I think, was it the first time we met? No, that was not the first time we met. It was the time I was in studio. Uko hivyo seti. Then guess who walks in? Charisma, you know? We were working with So Fresh at that time. Nata your song itu na So Fresh jaitoka.
So Fresh anaishi juu yangu, namwambia leo nikienda home.
So I was recording, and then there were some keys I couldn't hit. So Charisma came and did the BVs. But what is even interesting, on his song with Mbithi, there were some keys he couldn't hit.
I couldn't hit, so I was struggling.
He doesn't do falsetto. Now when you have a deep voice, it's very easy for me to do falsetto. So I did falsetto for his
So he did. He actually did the backups for the falsetto bit on my song Unavyonipenda with Mbithi. And every time we meet, I'm like, manze, unajua hiyo song wewe?
Tuma hizo royalties bana. So that song did very well. That song did very well bana.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That
song was nice.
Fantastic song.
That was
man, it was interesting. But I met this guy Kitambo, 2012 or 2013.
Really?
church, manze.
Was it Sitam or Bapo?
I think we met at Bapo. You guys were performing Christ Cycles.
Yeah, hey, Christ Cycles tuliperform kila mahali. Hata watu ushago, I'm sure kuna place. Perform ushago, perform Bapo.
I say wamekuwa must all their lives.
Wapi. And then maybe hata tulitoka Bapo tukaenda crusade ingine Waithaka. Like my guy, go pick the 3Ks, 2Ks, 1K.
Man.
Struggle days, man. But I'm so happy to have you guys here.
Thank you.
You guys are amazing people.
Yeah.
Now the conversation of the day that we're going to be talking about. Oh, Mikey kick off.
Better? Cool.
Now, the conversation of the day that we're going to be talking about is masculinity and toxic masculinity and all that stuff. And the title, in fact, what we were thinking about the title of this video is, are we really that toxic, you know? I feel like it's a thing that's been trending all over the world. And this masculinity thing I noticed it's a serious thing when they even when somebody like Andrew Tate would make like international headlines, you know, like now when big media companies would report on like war in Baghdad or war where landslide somewhere, they would also report like Andrew Tate did this or that and all that stuff. And you can also see it even on our local scene. So that's a conversation that we're going to be having today. So we did research as the Jared, and we decided to go look for the 2 most toxic men. And
I mean, okay then, guys.
Like we found them.
We accept them.
So the rules of the game are very simple. By the way, Jared, as Barack broke the jar, sasa tunafanya hapa ni kama tunachangia or something.
Ulipasua mbarika.
From Tumblr. Barack broke the jar, so this is how we're going to be picking. Those are some cashew nuts here, guys, by the way, if you feel them.
Thank you.
And then, so what we're going to be doing is that you pick a question, then we all answer. Then it goes round, right?
Okay.
So the first question, ilikuwa nisha to me already na Barack, and and the first question is, what's your general definition of toxic? What's your general definition of toxic, Mr. Manasseh?
Oh, okay. General toxic. The meaning of
That's
toxicity.
a difficult question.
Very difficult question.
That's a difficult question because there's sewer line, there's air pollution, there's like a toxic is so wide. Nuclear waste.
But I feel like in this sense, like it's toxicity when it comes to interaction or relationships. And I think someone who's toxic is someone who
Or
because you see, I get why it's a difficult question, because you see, toxic is very subjective also.
Yeah.
Like you can't really define like toxic for everyone. So there's things that would be toxic for you that wouldn't be toxic for me, you know. But I think for me, I'd ideally just say like elements of it is people who are stuck in their ways, who believe, you know, like this is how things should go, and if they don't go my way, I'm not having it. I think that's the kind of thing, maybe, and that's just an element of it. It's not a definition of like what a toxic person is.
Because I think I agree with that. I agree with that. Yes.
How I define toxic is something that's just poisonous, something that causes harm to you.
Right.
It's something that's eating you up. So it could be a culture that has been persecuted by your tribesmen, or it could be whatever, but it's just something that brings harm to you as a person. And the next question is, how would you define toxic masculinity?
I mean, toxic masculinity is where, like, you know, men have been put in this box of, you know, you're supposed to carry yourself.
This is how a man is
like a lion.
This is how a man should be.
Mwanaume afai kubeba umbrella.
Mwanaume afai kuoga na maji moto. Unanyeshea huko na kwa limoni na huko kijabe.
No ki act any different from that.
Yeah.
That's what
you're not a man.
You're not a man.
Unapiga nguo pasi. Unapiga nguo pasi Manasseh.
Smart. Manasseh mbona wewe ni smart?
Unaikunja na ngumi mbili. That's it.
Tumepaka lotion.
What is that?
Mwanaume ni parara.
Wakadinali walisema mwanaume afai kula lunch.
There's that way there.
Yeah, man. Wanasema afai kula lunch.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Unakulia nini lunch? Stay strong. Meka chakula kama ngamia.
So I think being put in that box with those set of rules of how a man should be, and you know, I think that's the toxic.
That's toxic
No,
masculinity.
I agree with that, and just like how we're not allowed to be vulnerable because that's not what a man should be.
Yes.
And men not just being able to open up and just feel things, because men are not meant to feel things, Men are not meant to cry and things like that. So I pretty much, I think it's the same thing. Yeah.
I think I would define toxic masculinity as still bad behaviors that eat us up.
Yeah.
Simply that. It's just bad behaviors that will eat us up. So it could be toxic masculinity perpetuated by the society, toxic masculinity, even perpetuated by religious organizations.
The weird thing with that definition for me is I sometimes and maybe nimerealize nikiwa hapa naweza jipata nimechoma but
hapa tuna ban
unaona hizo bad behaviors sometimes I'm like I don't know if they're bad. People, you see, and that's why I said it's very subjective because there's certain things that people think are toxic. And for me, I'm like, no, that's just how I think it should. And maybe that's the whole concept of it.
Yeah.
So you see, that definition for like bad behaviors that I don't know if I entirely agree with. It's a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. I'm saying, first of all, I don't think this toxic masculinity thing it should be a universal thing.
Yeah.
What's toxic to one culture can completely be untoxic to another culture.
Absolutely.
The whole I'm not a fan of trying to make people live under one blanket.
Yeah, no, you can't
because people are different.
People live,
If for the Massa is for them to prove that they are a man, you have to kill a lion. That's for the Maasais, and that's okay. It's not toxic on their. That's how their culture is.
Yes.
But if also another society feels like for a man, you have to be poetic. That's still also not toxic. That's the way their culture perceives. The problem I have with this gospel of masculinity is that it tries to make every man behave in the same way.
Police.
We are not robots. We are different. We grew up in a different society. So those are the first two questions, and then now moving on from here. You guys muna pick swali moja upatia charisma moja.
My God.
Alafu mimi nichukue moja. Then we answer them.
Okay.
By the way,
niko anxious.
By the way, charisma na feel to do justice. You have a new song.
Oh yeah, I have a new song called Sinanoma.
Hey, your PR team is just like this guy.
No. I have a song called Sinanoma. I don't want to explain what it's about.
Yeah.
If you know, you know. If you don't know, forget about it. Just listen to it.
Charisma,
no, I'm not actually. I just meet chaotic people. I'm not the problem. Anyway, just.
But I love the song.
Yeah, thank you.
Love the video.
Thank you so much.
In fact, if this toxic masculinity conversation could be, mwanaume anapiga aje video shoot kwa maua
bana. Kwanza
unapiga aje video shoot. Unafaa kuwa kwa fai ile inakuwa shanga huku.
Niliambiwa kwanza warasta wanne na nywele nono mnaingia kwa maua.
Oh, you were told that.
Yeah. Hey bro, let me tell you, the fans are relentless, man.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, kwanza mtoria DM and is like, hapana mwanamume anafaa kwa mjengo hapo munge kama mawe mkaimbo.
Kama video ya Nameless Salary. Tunashutiwa kwa flowers.
Mimi nilimwambia mimi sina shida hivyo. Siko kwa shida hivyo, acha nenda mimi.
So make sure you check out the video. I'm going to put a link on the description. Subscribe. This guy has good music.
Thank you, man.
Good music.
Appreciate
I'm a huge fan.
Asante.
Now, who do we start with? We start with
Manasseh.
Tuanze na Charisma. Manasseh. Charisma anajaribu kurusha ngoni.
Nataka kuona the weight of the questions. Okay. All right.
Mwanaume afai kushindwa kujibu maswali.
Oh man, this is a good question.
Tufai kuangalia, mimi nilikuwa nishaangalia yangu. Tunafaa kucheki sawa, twende.
Atufai kucheki but sawa tu.
Sasa tumejua, sorry. Do you think men do a good enough job calling each other out?
I don't think so. In my opinion, I feel like men have this unwritten rule where uambii mwanaume mwingine bila anaishi life yake. Kila mtu anaishi life yake. It's like when mwanaume okay sawa.
Ni mtu mkubwa.
It's what it is.
Man, that's so true.
Yeah, that's true.
And
man.
I feel like also it comes from a point of respect. But I feel like maybe this is something that should be encouraged when it comes to like, friend groups. Or like a crew. If you guys are like close. Maybe say me and Ben are very close. Then maybe I can be able to, we can have that understanding where I can be like, hey, man, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I was having an interesting convo with someone,
Yeah.
and we were talking about. So you know how men flex that men have long relationships, and
Yeah.
girls just normally kosana,
Yeah.
and it's a rap.
Yeah.
So this lady just like we were talking and talking. You know how men sometimes when we feel we're right, we're just shouting and laughing. So she sat down and she was just quiet, and then she's like, "You know why you guys have long, lasting relationships? It's because you don't call out crap. Like when if Manasseh does some crap to me, I'll not call it out. They watch tu kwa roho, kwa sababu men never talk about anything. But she said so. A lot of ladies will have relationships na wakosane because a lady won't allow you to act a certain way na ukwe tu in her circle still.
Right.
She'll be
Yeah.
like, bro, hawezi do hivyo na watakosana juu ya hiyo stuff. But men never do that. So like men don't hold each other accountable. They don't call each other out at all. You know, si ukuanga tu ile ya mse amekukosea but uko tu sawa tutakuwa tu friends chini. And
Yeah.
stamp show.
That doesn't even sound like a good thing at all.
Yeah,
It's bad.
It's really
It's
horrible.
a very bad thing, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's really bad. And hey, mazi, hizi swali zenye bara kutengeneza zinakuanga intense.
Zinakuanga
That-
deep.
That's question work.
Very
Do men
such.
call each other out? We don't. And for me, if I was to trace this back, I'd trace it back to high school. I'd trace this back to Upper Hill School because it was more of it's like a bro code
Yeah.
where stop interfering with my stuff. And if you look like unaingilia life ya another guy so much, unakamtiaji. In fact, unakamtiaji like
Because wewe-
prefect.
wewe bro unajua sana.
Hey, we unajifanya mjuaji sana. So it's a culture we picked from back then, and even now when you become adults, you realize that you still sometimes have that bad culture. Because sometimes for me, kama I can't call out somebody, especially if it's a guy. Mumchorea tu, like namcancel tu, and namtoka,
That's really
it's a-
toxic.
and that's really bad. You know, that's really
I
bad.
think I've really struggled with that as a person because I'm very. I don't want to say, but I think I'm a very strong character. Like I say
You
what
are.
I feel. You know, I think I just say things the way they are, and I wouldn't care. So I call out my boys a lot, and I think there's a lot of friends that in my life who I've lost
Because of that.
they're just like I've noticed instances people I was close to
Yeah.
mbaya, so I call out a certain habit na unapata tu mse okay tukiwa na yeye haita happen but na realize hatuko na yeye as often unaget amepata hata new friends kwa sababu charisma ni mtiaji man,
Charisma ni mrazi.
unaget, but I think I've gotten to a point where I have a circle now that I trust these people I can talk to, and I feel like they don't look at me like because even they will call me out when when I'm out of line. They'll be like, no, charisma, that's you know. But I think just generally men don't allow each other to hold. Men just generally don't hold each other accountable.
And that's a
You're
bad
right,
thing.
yeah.
That's a bad thing
I
because
feel
I
like
saw.
that
Sorry.
is such a great trait that you have.
Yeah.
Me, personally, that's something I've been able to build in the last just few years. You know, I was never like that. I was like the sweep things under the rug, take off. You know, I don't want to deal with this.
Meaning
But
what hapa.
Lately, I really
you
want to
have
talk
to.
about it.
Yeah, you have to.
But also, I feel like the older you get, you're building more intentional relationships.
Yeah.
You don't have time for
Yeah,
that
you don't
fake
have
stuff.
time
Time
for
for everybody. It's difficult, man. They kama haiwezi.
Kama haiwezi, let's
Yeah,
keep it moving.
correct.
Yeah.
I've also liked that as well. In fact, one of the people I know, like my friend Moji, Moji huwezi do kitu yofala na akuache.
Yeah,
Moji
Moji husema.
lazima ataipoint out, you know. He has to point that out. And you know, at first it was a bit weird, but with time you start realizing but umse ani help umse ni mse mpoa sana umse ni mse unaanza benda ulitoa hiyo ngoma mbona sioni umeposta hizo ngola wewe si wewe mind mambo yako, and then eventually unaona umse ako right by the way. I should have done what he said, you know.
But then it's true. And let me tell you, when you're like that, the worst thing is people even discuss you and they're like, so I was being told about now just like a small bash with my friends. So I can ambia, how could you stuff will happen? So I don't want to mention the names because everyone will know who it is. However, the shorty was like, hatukutaka kukuambia kwa sababu utaniambia ukweli, sikuwa nataka ukweli.
Yeah. So
Good.
men,
Good.
we've all agreed we don't do a good job in calling each other out, right? We can't have friends who are deadbeats.
We got.
I'm sorry, that's an elephant in the room.
Yeah.
If your friend has a child somewhere, you should be able to tell them to take care. Whether I'm not necessarily to marry the chick and all that. Just take care of your own.
Take
you know?
responsibility.
And it's such a weird thing. I see even sometimes on Twitter people do threads wakisifu this whole bad culture of get watoi na unahepa, then you're raising a traumatized generation.
Yeah.
What? I haven't even seen that.
My guy.
I've seen those so many times, man. I see those in so many conversations, and I'm just like,
Manze Manasseh, I think
such-
ako on the right side of Twitter.
yeah, mazee.
Shida ya Twitter ni...
We did
you
it
know
cleansed.
Oh no,
Yeah.
the truth is like I'm never there much.
Oh
I'm
really?
never there.
We basi we bado uko kwa zile za news zile unapata ni BBC, tu Citizen ndio
I'm
wamepost
never
something
there much,
happening.
trust
So,
me.
I also never used to go on
You're
Twitter.
very
and
vocal
then
on Twitter, by the way,
nikakuwa
you.
tu msee wa Twitter all of a sudden. Wacha ni wa show. Twitter ni wild kwa sababu saa zingine hata vitu zinakam kwa page yako si kitu unataka, ni juu kuna msee ameretweet.
Yeah.
Unaangalia matope fulani unasema sasa hii ni nini? What is
So
this?
yeah.
The only thing I know is that they say Twitter is not a real place. I
not.
agree.
Yeah,
It really
of
isn't,
course,
yeah.
of course. Nice one. So before we even go to the second question, I mean, something else that we also need to think about is also how men would never call out their friends if they're cheating.
Bana.
Sikia kumekuwa na tension kiasi.
Hakuna story ya man. Hiyo ni siasa. Nowadays even babes are doing things on the side and their friends will not tell on them.
Oh, so you're across the board.
No, but let me
United in crime.
So I don't know. I don't want to speak about women because I don't know if women do this, but kitunayo men won't do.
Yeah.
If you're cheating, Manasseh.
Yeah.
I won't call you out. I won't tell you unafanya makosa. I don't know. So I know mademu wataficha beste yao. But sijui kama behind closed doors wanaambia manze.
My homies
But
would
me,
call
I
me
know
out,
chances
bana.
are they would.
Really?
My homies. Waezi acha hiyo story and hivyo.
Serious?
And this was even in campus. Like I remember in campus, there was sometimes I'd do some dumb stuff.
Even in campus, they used to call you out.
And my friends are like, maze pia una ban sana maze.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yangu ni different when the champion.
Yeah.
Nikiwa kampo. My friends in campo watu wananiona na dem mwingine. Hata hao ndo wana instigate everything.
Oh man.
Wewe mwanaume bana. What are you saying?
Okay, interesting.
Una friends wapo, umekuwa na friends wapo for a while.
Yeah, but also it's when, let's say kama relationship imekuwa serious, that's when they'd step in. But these casuals, they would not care. But it's so serious, they'd be like, hey, maze hapana.
Umesema kampo.
Hey, KU mimi nakumbuka nikisomewa na my friends kina Donez once in a while.
Hey, we'll
Ko like, hey,
serious
how?
relationship here your time.
Ko like is how? Wacha kuban. Nice one. What I say?
Okay, interesting. Find good friends, guys. That's moral of the story.
People
Find
need to
good
find
friends.
good friends.
Yeah.
Mimi nasho wanaume ucheat na maboy wako behave ni kama hata waoni manze. Mimi nasho men are weird. Like those are the kind of things people will even nini prop you up for. Yeah. Umseni mnoma. Wewe ni hatari kwanza ushikwi. Ukishikwa sasa wewe ndo fala.
Yeah.
Your boys will call you out for being caught.
Yeah.
Not cheating.
Oh yeah, actually you're right.
You'll be called out for. Unasikwaje wewe?
Unashikwaje?
Wewe ni mwanamume mgani?
Acha nikushow a story. I think this was like epitome of my simpness. So one time when I was in Campo, so niko na day 2 dame. So I guess one day something happened, some chick like so me narudi because I was trying to
maanisha ulicheat.
ikichukua hiyo but see it to see
You know
intense
something
hivyo.
happened with another chick. Okay.
So sasa si mi nikarudi, I'm just trying to be this honest boyfriend. So nikaambianga mresh mwenye na date. By the way, kuna kitu ili happen. But they have homies who nisome hadi leo. Like when it toast sana.
Ulikuwa unafikiria
Yani,
nini?
all odds were in your favor. Lakini wewe na mdomo yako
Wait,
kubwa.
I have a question. So hauko umeshikwa.
Alisema.
Akuko hata na
Sini
hint ya
guilty tu,
kushikwa.
nilifeel too guilt.
Si deal na guilt yako.
Si unisome. I have people who unisome hadi leo manze. So yeah, that was long live.
But manzeni weird.
Simping.
The truth why work yani. Hata yani sasa in life unasema ukweli bado unachapwa. Ukidanganya unachapwa. Sasa unafanya nini yani?
Yeah. Anyway,
tuendelee.
dark days.
Yeah.
Next question. So, what do you think to be true? There is toxic masculinity or there are toxic people who are men? I feel like about the issue on the first question as well. I just feel like, I feel like these are two very different things. Toxic masculinity and, toxic people who are men. Because toxic masculinity, like we said, is just, those set of rules and those situations that, you are accused of, why are you doing? You're called out. The people call you out for, which are not necessarily things that really make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, I agree with that as well. I think those are two different things. Somebody can't be toxic, and then we also have toxic masculinity, which we have said is relative.
Yeah, it's very
in some communities, women are supposed to do some things, men do some things. I don't call that toxic masculinity. That's their culture. You see, the problem I have with the woke culture as well is that woke culture tries to blanket everything and everyone into one. You know, now you meet somebody who does something that's a bit different from what you do. Now all of a sudden they're toxic, or they're backward, and they're behind. If in this culture men are the ones who do this and women do this, and those people are okay with it. Nobody's being forced. If they're okay with it, then that's not toxic masculinity. But of course there are toxic men. You know, people who, and toxic. I'd say that also stems from a lot of unhealed trauma inside of you as a person. Like when you see somebody who beats their woman, you see.
But see, kuna wasi wengine tu ni wajinga pia.
Sio ndo tunaita toxic.
Wacha niwasho shida yangu na hii kila kitu hatuwezi blanket kila kitu na trauma. Kuna just stupid ass people.
You're
that
right.
stupidity is actually trauma.
Yeah, why are you beating
Not necessarily, man. I just feel like I agree with you, bro. Because I feel like some people are subconsciously toxic.
Yeah.
But people are toxic.
Yeah, people are toxic.
So you're saying some people are just evil?
Kuna people are evil, bro. Let me tell you, I feel like the problem with the world today is we'll try to get a reason for everything. Ati ni trauma. Huyo si trauma. Msee anapiga bibi yake karibu na kama there's this dude with dreads on TikTok.
Yeah, I saw him.
On Twitter. Is it Twitter?
I saw him, Twitter.
Mwenye anachapa bibi yake. Msee anasema ati hiyo ni trauma. Hakuna trauma hapo. Msee tu ni mtu mbaya.
Wait, this is on video.
Bro.
You've not seen it?
What?
Si mabaya.
And then you're on the good side of Instagram. Yani said yako tu ni transitions in good life.
Wacha nikwambie. Meditate, manze. Cleanse space yako.
But it's been trending. I saw that. That was such a disgusting video.
Let me tell you, do you know what the dude posted the other day on his Facebook? He's like, Ata msemenini, I'll still beat her and she still loves me. I have money. I'm like, this is not trauma. Huyu tu ni mtu mbaya. Ni evil.
He's a stupid guy for sure.
So, but I think now that's a toxic man. That's not toxic masculinity. That's just a toxic
man.
Person.
Okay. Yeah. It's good that we differentiate the two. My question is, what's your first conscious memory of when you realized or knew that you were a man? When did you know that you were actually a man?
This swali
is nanikangwa na scientist wa NASA.
When did you know you were a man?
When did you know you were a man?
I don't know if my answer.
There's no wrong or right answer here.
No, I'm just wondering if it's for the cameras.
Just say it. Of course, I could tell my private part was different.
Obviously.
There was that. And then I remember my dad is the one who was telling me now, you need to know that you're a boy and you're not a girl. And he really affirmed me, but he was like, you're a very good looking boy. He did. And since then, I never struggled with how I look.
Your dad said that.
Yes.
Your dad nini mbaya na sisi. Damn, boy.
My dad always affirmed me about that.
Oh, that's great.
So me and I saw chuo.
Uliambiwa na baba yako ni good
Hey, me mdogo alinishowingi you are very handsome,
toxic masculinity
smart man.
Mimi to a home. Mimi ni baba yangu.
You're the story.
Me, my dad was very intentional. But you are a very smart, handsome man. You kwanza wewe utakuwa tajiri sana. So me, I have a very good relationship with my dad. We are like homies for real.
Mine too, but he would never tell me I'm good looking.
Well, that's as far as
Or
it
maybe
went
because
with emotional.
I don't know.
And he doesn't want to lie to you.
Hataki kuniambia uongo pia.
So that's the first time that I realized that I'm a boy and then they are girls.
It's weird. Okay, now I think I have an answer. So I think when I realized I'm a man, you know when you're younger how you're scared of girls. Like you just don't want to be like hata ukikalishwa na dem hivi unakaa huku saidia kiti manze. So I think when I got to the point where it flipped from when I'm close to them, I want to run away to I want to get closer. Started to understand. Hey,
but
things
what
are
age
happening.
is this we're talking?
I can't remember when that happened. Staki niseme alafu watu wasema ulianza mapema. But yeah, I think when those changes that start, I don't know. I don't even think you're able to tell immediately. It's just like a process. But when those things started happening, when I started feeling weird attractions to girls, and then looking at my body, nikioga na shindo nani huyo.
Okay, for me, I think it's I remember, my mom used to have a hobby where she used like to knit stuff a lot.
Okay.
So she would knit like, beanies for us.
Yeah.
And like, different even like dresses and knitted dresses. Yeah. And, I have a younger sister who's only 4 years younger than me. And maybe when like she would say like, this is for you because these are piece of pants. These are a pair of pants, but this dress is not for you. It's for your sister.
Okay.
That's when I was like, okay, so why can't they both be mine?
Yeah.
Why can't I do
Yeah.
this? Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, then
Okay.
it was very,
So do you think children should be given that freedom to choose
To choose what?
No.
if they are a boy or a girl?
Absolutely not. What do you mean? They're only two.
Man.
Okay, let's not go there.
Yeah, no,
They're
man.
only two
But that-
genders.
when you
What do
visa.
mean? Oh my
you
God.
see, for me, I look at it like this. Yeah, like a kid is not able to, like, that's why you have guardians. Yeah, there's a reason why you're able to decide whether you want to drink or not when you get to the age of 18 and things like those. I just feel like that decision for I want to be a boy or a girl can't be made at that age. I just feel like that.
It's a serious
Absolutely.
decision.
Yeah, I think it's a very serious decision for like imagine a 7-year-old.
Who are
making
you?
that
What do you
decision.
know about
Unajua
yourself?
nini, manze?
Yeah, I was having this conversation with my sister, and we were talking about like my nephew is about 5 going to 6 now, and growing up he's watching lots of cartoons and whatnot, and we're having a conversation about how being able to limit what he's watching. There's a lot of toxicity, quote unquote toxicity, and negative stuff in these programs the kids are watching.
Yeah.
There's a particular cartoon which I believe people know about that has gay characters as well. It's nothing. I'm not saying being gay is bad, but I'm just saying, for example, like how early are they supposed to interact with this information, especially when you don't know yourself. You're just supposed to discover yourself.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So I think
It's a crazy thing. Yeah?
No, it's a weird thing. Genuinely, I'm just wondering how such a decision can be left to a 6-year-old. It's just, it doesn't make sense for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Nikama, can I ask you a question? What if a child says, I don't want to go to school at 6? Would you allow them to?
Well.
children can't make any decisions for themselves.
You see, that's the thing I'm saying.
Ona Manasseh akicheat. What's the question?
Hii question imenigonga kwa roho.
Hizi question gonga mtu.
In your experience, what is the one thing you wish women understood about the male experience? Hallelujah.
Do we have time to vent? Eh?
Do you have
Do
time?
we have time?
And
Do we
talk
have
about everything,
Nani tuanze huko sasa?
Hatuwezi anza huku. Tunaanza na mwenye
Tuanze na Manasseh.
Okay, tunaweza anza na
Mimi ndo nimuuliza swali. Do you know one thing I really wish people understood about women, women understood about the male experience is sometimes some of the actions by us guys is not. That's how we've been raised. And they might, how toxic masculinity sometimes manifests at bila kujua.
Yep.
And people will come at you with certain things, but that's just how you've been raised. Like, for example, I've had a lot of conversations with people I've been in relationships with about things like just being vulnerable and crying. And I'm like, it's not easy. Just the way I've been raised, I was told, bro, mi nilikuwa nachapwa juu ya kulia. Babangu alikuwa anatuchapa ukilia na kuchapa zaidi ndo wache kulia.
Yep.
Unashangaa ni nini? Nasikia uchungu na wache kulia. I struggle with being vulnerable.
Yeah.
I'll really admit, yeah. And I've been in relationships where people have struggled to understand that I struggle with that. And it's not my own doing. It's something that is changing over time. And it's something I was taught over a long period of time. So it just doesn't change like this. So sometimes I'm like, I wish people understood it from my perspective. The people I've been in relationships with rather. Yeah.
That's a good one. I also struggle with I've struggled with being vulnerable as well, even with my wife right now. I think my wife, how many times has my wife seen me cry? Maybe twice or thrice.
How long have you guys been together?
7+ years.
No, umelia mara mbili.
9, actually 9 plus they were married.
Na umelia twice.
Well, ni hard tu nipate yani nikilia. Yani ni
Unalia kwa nini wewe?
bana, maybe nikililia Mungu. Maybe your church unajua. Kwani we are doing that bad, But I've also not been the kind to be that vulnerable. I've really struggled to have to start to open up, to say things, to be vulnerable to one person. In fact, now it's easier with somebody like my wife. Now, when it comes to other guys also,
it's hard.
you know, I have to prep myself better
It could take 7 years to figure out
to be vulnerable to another guy as well, you know. And it's just keeping it real and keeping it open. So that's another thing that I've said. But also another thing, something that I wish women knew about the male is that sometimes it's like we just don't know how to process what we are feeling sometimes, you know. My wife is very expressive. I like how she even introduced this thing where name your emotion, you know. Sasa hiyo nini mimi nilikuwa tu najua na feel vibaya, you know. Feel too busy.
Wait, so umejam unaambia name chenye una feel?
You could be either umejam, could be pia umefurahi, could be you're shocked, could be you're disappointed, you're sad, you're heartbroken. You know, my wife is normally very keen on name what you're feeling.
I feel like
you know?
that's really, really genius.
It's really smart. Because from that point, you know what to work on. You know?
Exactly.
But I never knew how to address or to face things like that. So one thing I wish women would know about the male species, from my perspective, is that sometimes we also just don't know what to express what we are feeling.
Okay, maybe something I would say I'd like to bring up is men really associate their value, or rather their sense of self is really determined by, you know, how valuable they think they are. From a point of like, you know, this is my line. These are the things I'm working on, and these are the things I've been able to accomplish. So that's what determines their value in their mind. That's what they know. This is my value. So. You can, as a woman, you can try to give this man to tell them the value that you put on them, and to tell them, you know, who you think they are, and they could be doing so well in your eyes, but they can never get there until they allow themselves to get there.
Bro, and when you're with someone who understands that and knows that thing, it's the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
Like for me, the one thing for me is just people who really support what I do, like as a creative, and like when I like a partner who's just there for me the whole time, who's propping my work, man. That's a lot for me. You know? That's a lot for me. So
that's like propping your work is like everything. It's like because it makes you feel like you're not lost. You are onto something. You know. But if someone is not supporting your cause, you feel like, are you against me?
Oh yeah, that's demoralizing. That's extremely bad. So in fact, I want to ask the men who are watching this show to type in the comment section. Let us know some of the things that as a man you'd like to express. You'd like the world to know about men. Leave it in the comment section. We're also going to pick it up on the next episode, or we can also further this conversation more on Instagram as well. Sindio?
Yes.
Who has your turn now? That's the question. Nipitie maswali.
Huyu alikuwa shaona mwake.
Huyu alikuwa shaona.
Sasa Manasseh manzi yako na answer profound.
No, I promise.
Hakuna answer profound.
What is the most ridiculous pissing contest you have ever been in?
What does a pissing contest mean?
It means
like we are trying to measure who's the man the most. Oh man, me nimekuwa kwa mob. There was one time we were trying to compete who can type faster with the laptop just to prove the other guys were illiterate. there was one where tulikuwa tunashindana kula pilipili. And then in fact kwa hiyo pilipili you add Tabasco, you know, that small fiery thing, you add that as well. Na ilikuwa na commitment, kulikuwa na a lot of tears hapo, but you know you sail through. Which other one? We were always competing. Nansini watu wazima.
I mean, I just remember one that was just really horrible. We were just, I think, looking back now, I just think, why? You know, one of those where you just make a bet on a babe that all of you think, oh my God, she's so hot. And you guys just competing who's gonna get.
Oh, we did that.
Really
I didn't do these things, guys.
Oh, you didn't? Was a skip stage. Itakupata ukiwa
good guy.
Nakupata huko mbele bana.
Unafanya vitu kwa PTA meeting mazee.
Man, what's the Sina maoni. No,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
honestly, no. I think, and this one is dumb. But I was still with Leban, so there's a time we had an argument with Ken man with the bass, and we're like, who has the highest pain tolerance? Bro, unajua tulienda tukakata kijiti. Tunalala chini one by one tukichapa na viboko mpaka mse mwenye atasema imetosha. I even have videos, bro.
Do you want to send them to me?
No. Tunachapana viboko for real.
Why?
Na zilikuwa zinatoka huku juu tunataka tu kuonyesha, and then that's mimi nakushauri kwa mwanamume saa zingine ni upumbavu. Do you know when they say ati why men die? Yeah. And women, bro, juu hiyo ni nini?
Why women live longer?
Why women live longer? Like nilikuwa naochia video hata juzi niko like sasa hili kwa nini tulikuwa tunadu?
And it was
just
after
tulitaka tu kuona nani anaweza take pain more.
Then after hapo sasa mkasema mvunje tu group.
Sasa hii sasa kukubali manzi, acha nikushoe inafika point mnaambiana ni draw bus.
Yeah.
Hakuna mwenye amewin.
Yeah.
Pain inakuwa mingi sana manzi, hata huwezi kaa kwa kiti manzi.
Yeah, men kind of do some very dumb stuff.
But ni kitambo msini judge.
I think that's where the quote "boys will be boys" comes
always,
from. You know, it's like we never grow up.
Yeah.
This is number 5. Beyond biological definition, what do you think makes you a man?
Yeah, man.
Beyond biology, simsianze na biology, testosterone, sijui agado. What makes you a man?
I think how I carry myself, how I think na shida yangu ni hizi vitu zitaanza kwa definition ya Biblia. Anyway, but I think
maybe hizo ndizo kweli.
But I think how I carry myself, just how I deal with situations, in my opinion, like I think when I'm dealing with something, if something happens, like I have a situation in front of me, I'm always like, you're a man, you have to deal with this thing like a man, you know? So how I deal with those kind of situations, how I carry myself, I think my leadership also, I don't know, and I don't know if this is for a lot of people or if other men feel like this, but how I lead defines how I see myself as a man, you know? How I am in situations of leadership make me feel like a better man or a good man or not enough, you know? So I don't know. I think that for me.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a deep, man.
Yeah.
How I define myself being a man is the same thing you said. Is how I lead, but not just how I lead people, but also how I lead myself.
Yeah.
How I lead myself as Ben towards achieving the goals that I've set for myself.
Exactly.
You know?
Right.
If I want to attain this amount of money, if I want to get these body goals or work on myself, if I want to emotionally, which is something I picked up in my late 20s, to work on myself such that si kila mse kukasirisha, you have to spend your energy on them. Because how we were taught is that as a man, mse afai una noma my guy. That's his new song. Yeah. Charisma, you're chaotic. So, but it's like not when everybody pisses you off, they deserve your attention. When somebody says something mean on social media, I always try and catch myself. Mbona una jam juu your opinion? Hii ni version yake, you know, which is not always the case. Yeah. So I think it's how I lead the people who are under me, yes, but more so how I lead myself, you know, and how I behave. I think that's what proves shows me how much of a man I am.
Yeah.
Manasseh, please repeat that question again. Read it again.
Apart from looking at it biologically,
aspect,
how would you define a man?
How do you define a man?
Yeah. Or what makes you? What's your definition?
Yeah, actually, what do you think makes you Manasseh a man?
Yeah. Oh, it's like specific to me.
Yes, specific. It's specific to you. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What makes you a man?
I feel generally is, I think generally is how objectively I'm able to, articulate who I am, articulate where I'm going, what I want to do. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I create my household, I create my vision.
Wow.
And that whole infrastructure, I'm like the head of that. Yeah. So figuring how this foundation is solid and how this is gonna become what I envision, I feel like that's what really makes the backbone of the man.
Yo.
Yeah. Oh, clap for the man.
Professor, nice one. You have a question, Fidel?
Yeah.
Uko na swali?
Yeah.
You have a question?
Yes.
Ah, good. Mimi ndio sina.
Manze, in your experience, what are the good things that have come out of the last 20 years of male existence?
I mean, we've been providing healthy babies for the seed.
I don't know.
There's actually not a lot of good. Okay,
There's a lot of good things.
There's a lot of good things. I just don't think. Do you know? I just feel like
Football.
the good things.
Football.
Yeah, I just feel like the good things that I'm thinking about are what a man should do. Like, it's not something that I think is a good thing. It's just what I think a man should do. But
For example?
like, let's say something like taking care of your kids, or like your responsibilities, basically. You just doing what you need to do and
I
things
mean, I
like
get
that.
that.
But what are we saying?
I get that. I just feel like the question
Yeah,
is...
I don't really
I
understand.
feel like the question is looking at the world in general.
Maybe we can ask
And
Barack.
who are some
Yeah.
of these people?
Help us.
Who are some of these people that have done particular things that have made the world a better place?
Me, I'm really struggling to
Of
find
course,
it.
there's the Black Lives Matter.
Yeah,
But it's not a male thing, is it?
It was started by a man. Ama, we're not talking about things that
Oh
the
yeah,
origin is a
absolutely,
man.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Ama, you differ.
Do you guys really want to pin a whole Black Lives Movement thing on a man? I don't think it's a male thing. I think it's a very wide struggle. That's why I don't think it can be said like
I agree. I
a
agree
male.
with you.
Then I don't understand that question.
For me, maybe I would say like I don't know. Let's say for example.
Na show wanaume hawana kitu mzuri.
Hapana.
So like the way the women had the Me Too movement for men. I mean,
Hakuna kitu tumefanya for 20 years.
hapana, nisi atufikiri.
Oh wow.
Mimi kwanza mukwa champion wa men. Stories of Boy Child Kenya.
Yeah, I might need a bit more time to think about what we've done. Mimi na feel tu ni kama tume exist.
So, but
No.
must this be a cause though? Must
Yeah.
it be a
It
cause?
doesn't have to.
We can say, for example,
Yeah.
we can even just say, like, in the last 20 years, let's say, like, someone like Zuckerberg.
Okay.
Social media.
Created social media, which is let's say
Men
Instagram and Facebook.
improved connection.
Connectivity.
For human
and
beings.
it's also like a whole money generating platform
Exactly.
for a lot
I
of
mean,
us.
yeah.
Acha niwaambie
That's
kitu.
by the
Swali
men.
imetuanika.
Hapana, mimi sitiki kuanikwa. We have
Manze tumefikiria kitu ya maana nye wanaume wamedo for 20 years. Oh. Tough.
But okay, ni kitu gani ya maana yenye mademo wamedo for the 20 years?
Na feel kani mob man.
Okay, let's do it.
I feel like you see, for example, what you the fight against GBV, things like that, just providing sanitary towels for other young girls. Unajua hizo vitu kama hizo. Kuna
Ay,
vitu,
hapana. Some of those were done also by men as well.
but unajua hizo ni initiatives zilikuwa literally started by women.
But you see, hizi vitu hata kama zimefanywa na men,
Yeah.
they make the faces of the campaigns women, so that because there are issues that have really
Okay,
affected
in
them
fact,
directly.
I want to hear you, Charisma. You've talked about you've talked about what? Sanitary pads. Hiyo itafly.
No, honestly, if you think about it, there's a lot of like it's a woman generated thing. Like they start because it's something they understand. So that's how I'm thinking about that question. Like something that men understand that's really been beneficial to our community or to the males.
The Me Too movement is that was by
that's
women,
one.
okay?
Okay,
Okay,
and you see,
that's
it's
one.
not like BLM. It's very specific to them.
Higher. There's that. The UN has been led the world peace. Not tujakuwa na World War II ingine since 1945.
Yeah.
And the men have been at the realm of managing the UN, and you see it's being run well. So I mean, I don't know how to answer this question.
Okay, this question.
Tuseme swali ndo ngumu.
This
Hiyo
one-
swali ni
this one
ngumu.
haikuwa-
Hiyo swali ni ngumu.
Hii swali tumeachana nayo.
Staki.
That
Hautatuanika.
question is so bad.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, allow me to move on.
Wanaume wote kwa dunia wameangushwa na si watatu.
The audience in studio is laughing at us.
Yeah.
Strong.
These are really nice questions. Really, really nice questions. Okay, so what is the one thing you wish the society was a little bit kinder to men for?
I think the idea that men are supposed to have it all figured out.
Oh, yeah.
The society is very harsh to men who've not figured out their stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Men who don't have a job, men who are broke. I mean, bro,
I was gonna say that, man. The financial bit, man.
Like broke men in a such a thing.
Naturally,
Be trolled.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Like, you see how, man, I don't like speaking for women, but I think, because I don't think it's in my place to do so, but you know how how dudes will attack ladies for how they look.
Yeah.
Nini, kama kuna kitu na feeling ni attack on as a man ni mfuko manzi.
Sindio.
I think hiyo ndo kitu mi wish watu wangekuwa kinder to men for, just their financial situations, man. Let me tell you, calling someone a broke, and not a man, you've called him a broke boy. God damn. Unajua hiyo stuff,
like all you have to offer is your existence.
Manze, acha niwaambie kuna value mingi financial. Wanaume will attach a lot of value to what they have in their pockets.
Yeah.
So like just putting them out on blast and reminding them how they don't have something doesn't feel amazing.
Yeah, I think men who haven't figured out stuff, the world is very, very harsh, and society as a whole is very harsh towards them. I mean, that's why we have this phrase, be a man, do it like a man. You know?
Lakini acha niwaambie, kwa hii dunia hata kama huja figure out kitu na uko na pesa, mi nakuambia kuitwa broke boy ni sad, manze. Your stuff ni painful. Unaisikia kwa duodenum, manze.
Unaimeza.
Manze, msiite watu broke boy, si funny. Si poa.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Man, I really just agree with what you guys are saying. The financial aspect, men who haven't really figured out, their way.
I don't think we have to.
Mainly just that.
Must mainly just that. Yeah. Okay.
I can think about.
Okay, it's a good one.
Okay.
This is question 2. So this is wacha umama. Don't be a man. Okay? Umelewa, these were 3 statements. So are you familiar with any of these phrases? Wacha umama.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hate
I've
that
gotten lots
statement.
of those. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Wacha umama, ini umama. Those are familiar comments from my comment section, especially on Instagram. If you may or may not know, I've been creating self-care content for a while now, and I was one of the first people who are very bold about self-care.
You are.
And this is about generally, just intentionally just taking care of yourself as a man. You're doing your manicure, pedicure, you're getting your massages, you are, what you're eating, you're working out, you're taking care of your skin.
Yeah.
And all these things, are the things that are traditionally known, for women.
Yeah.
Especially in our society, Africa, Kenya, etc. Yeah. So hizo vitu nimeziona, hii ni umama, hii ni nini, wanaume kuparara, like why?
I know those phrases very well.
Yeah.
But
but you see, that's also like one of the tips of it's something to also do with toxic masculinity, as we say.
Really.
And kuambia mtu hiyo ni umama.
Yeah, I genuinely hate that phrase. Like, I hate it so much. Like, even so, one place where that statement especially is used, na mi uko sana na watu mpaka wacha nikushow. So mtu anasema acha umama kwa groups za ball. See, I don't know how many guys are sports fans here, but sports fans are some of the most, watu wafikiriangi, by the way. Watu urusha tu mdomo vile wanajisikia kwa sides of sports. Yeah, so like someone ataambia msee kitu kacha umama ni complain about your statement niambo hata wewe wacha umama. I hate it because I'm just like, why do we attach that? Like, nini mbaya na umama kwanza?
Yeah, like mothers.
Umama ni nini? Unaget like
Yeah.
si understanding first of
Yeah.
all nafikiria mama yangu home nini mbaya na yeye ndio
Basically, the
compare
angle
na
is
yeye.
like you're behaving like a woman.
And like what's wrong,
Quote
you know?
unquote, be a man. That's
Yeah.
what they're saying.
Yeah.
You know?
Ni- yeah, I don't like it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Especially those ones for skincare. Even when I'm recruited for campaigns for skincare.
Yeah.
So once in a while you'd get such comments, but I got to a point where I really, if a man doesn't want to see the point in this, then really that's their problem.
Absolutely.
That maybe you need sunscreen.
Can I throw a curveball into it because
throw a curveball,
Yeah,
charisma. I mean, but there is vitu charisma anasema ni ukweli. Charisma is very opinionated. I mean, with him on a musician WhatsApp group, charisma anakuaga, hey.
Kiboko. Nah, but I'll be very like with self-care, for example. I've like as I said, I'm young. I'm relatively young in the content creation field. Yeah.
Yes.
I remember when I was approached now by a brand to do content in that line, and I was like, sasa ini nini? Kwanza walinitumia products mingi hata sijui hizi vitu nza kufanyia nini. Mimi mpaka tu mafuta kwa uso. Na labda niko na so like and for me I've really struggled with that, and I think that's the toxic masculinity bit.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I really struggled with just accepting that these are things that men could do.
Yeah.
I don't lie about that. Like, I really struggled with kwanza mimi ina waste time mbaya. Kwenda kwa bafu nijipake mafuta ya kwanza nioshe nipake. Na unanga ina waste a lot of time, man. I'm just like, first of all, let me tell you boy math.
Boy
math.
Yeah.
Boy math is you're meant to be somewhere at 8:30, you wake up at 7:45 or 8.
Yeah.
30 minutes ndio kufanya everything. Sasa nashindo nitafanya hizi vitu zote saa ngapi? Ndio niende penye nenda. So I really struggled with those things. And I think pole too, I'm starting to understand those things and realizing they have nothing to do with my manhood.
Yeah.
They have nothing to
Because
do.
I won't lie. Mi seem different na wanaume kwa mi nilikuwa na shida, nilikuwa nadhani hii kitu kufanya si kitu ya wanaume. Hakuna vile mrembo wangu atakuwa anajitengeneza huko na hata mi nimekaa hapa mbele najitengeneza. That's how I used to feel, you know. And I think slowly I'm realizing it has nothing to do with who I am as a man.
Yeah.
It's just me taking care of myself. So like that's really interesting.
Yeah. It really boils down to if you just want to have a good skin or not. Like by the way, it has nothing. It's like going to the gym. It's not a must for you to go to the gym.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Being healthy doesn't mean that you must go to the gym. That's also a facade.
Yeah.
Going to the gym involves a lot of disciplines. Maybe you want a certain frame. Maybe you want some certain muscles. You do you, man. So if you also if you want to smoothen your skin, you have to do some of these things.
Fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yeah, it's still fine as well. I remember
Yeah.
me, in fact, this skincare thing, how I got into it, let me tell you. I used to steal my wife's product. You know, like once in a while, no, natumia sijui CeraVe. Wacha nikuambie. No, let me finish. Mwana sijui anatumia sijui CeraVe.
Rudi, anza tena. You used to steal your...
So like mwana amekama hapo na CeraVe. First I didn't even know like what that was.
Na unaiba.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, nimeona kipao kwa huu. And then after a month I'm like, yo, this thing is really working. Mazee, pimples zimeisha. Hii story ni ukweli, you know? So even got to a point where we had to talk. She was like, hii stuff kuna mse anatumia. So I think at this point, pia you have to be part of this whole thing. So it's really if you really want
Then
it
I have a
or
question,
not.
and this is not even in line with the nini.
Yeah.
So now, like when you do skincare, do you also do it on your head? Because like no, because I mean you do for your hair. I also do.
No, I don't do for my head because I feel like my head is okay. The reason why I used to do it on my skin is because I used to have two small pimples hapa kule.
Also, asubuhi upakangi mafuta kwa kichwa hivi.
Do, but muka for long bila kupaka mafuta kwa kichwa for.
Really?
Mpaka niko like,
so unapaka mafuta hadi hapa, alafu sasa unajuaje umefika mwisho. So kuna paki kichwa yako haina mafuta.
Chachi live loading. So of course mupaka mafuta kwa kichwa, but musao most of the time.
So
but,
no,
but,
but
sunscreen. So like sunscreen, I'll get it up to like here, like it has to cover majority. No, my whole face. And the things that I have to apply in the morning are moisturizer, the sunscreen. Hizo ndio vitu mbili before nitoke kwa nyumba lazima nipake. So saa zingine nakuanga na mafuta fulani nilibai ya nywele, but I keep forgetting. So yeah, it's 50-50.
Okay.
Do you have another question?
No, I mean, I just don't understand the plight of bald men. So it's nice to understand.
Yeah, me and Bien the same WhatsApp.
Let me just say this. I just feel like, the difference between any guy and any guy who's living better or doing better in their respective spaces or industries is information.
Yeah.
And you can stay on the other side you can stay on the other side, see all this information, ignore it, but that's up to you.
Yeah.
But that's just totally ignorance.
Yeah.
You cannot trash something you haven't tried.
That's true.
So I think
It is what it is.
yeah, people should actually, it's an actual thing. It's an actual thing. Yeah, people should.
In fact, that we've answered part B, because are you familiar with these phrases? We said yes. Have you been subjected to any of these phrases? We've said yes, and we've given our examples. Whatever end you are on, what were your thoughts and feeling around giving or receiving this? Wow. Which is actually what I feel like to I had to
I think we've talked about it.
A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
About it.
My index 1.
Yeah. Smart people.
Tulijua.
Mkona maswali?
Tunachukua.
Pick.
Tuko kwa chupa manzi. Acha nikae tu na kadhaa.
Yeah, boy math,
Boy man, ni kuchukua mingi.
Tuko vile unashikilia.
Tutachukua hii kubwa.
Hata iko na part A na part B.
Hii ni phrase mazee wangu. This is an essay.
What?
I finished with this. Okay,
I feel like we answered this one.
I feel like you need to finish.
What's that? Yeah, no.
Fidel.
No,
Don't retard it because it's hard.
No, I think we did. Didn't we talk about definitions of toxic and toxic?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think we did, yeah?
We did.
Nilikuwa nimeona
Fidel
nikapata
take
stress
boy
tena.
math,
Niko
ulikuwa
na boy
ushachukua.
math ilishani. Mimi naambia nilijipanga bana.